Yes, well, back with you. Hello again, Jim Burns. What we got going on here today is installing some handrail stanchions on our 2025, and I'll be using 700E rail stanchions. Let me zoom in here a little bit, and I can hopefully give you a good shot of it. Let's see, there's one right there. Got a nice through hole in there for the handrail to pass through. Got our 256 threads there. And then, to hold it on all in place, I've got a nice hex nut once it's through the boiler. Alright. So that's what we're going to be using. Now we only need 4 of these, even though there's 3 holes. There's one in the front smoke box, one midway, just about midway, and then one up here on the bell pair firebox shoulder there. We don't need a stanchion up front here because that is where the bend in the handrail goes. Alright, so that'll fit in the smoke box, and then we'll run along here. We'll put a stanchion right there, and then we'll put a stanchion right there on our side of our firebox, and then we'll go into the cab there. So that'll give us our handrails back in order. So let me flip the boiler around here and I'll show you what we're going to have to do. Well, while we're still zoomed in, let me do it this way. On the side of the bell pair firebox here, we've got this support here. This one we've got to grind almost, well not almost, but flush with the this side of the firebox, okay? That one's got to be flush. And that's what makes this more of a unique application for these handrail stanchions. Usually we don't have to grind, like on the 2026 or the 229. Those are round boilers, you know, so we don't have to really do that. But with this bell pair, we've got to deal with that. And we've got to make it look nice, you know. The cotter pins, they hold the railing right up against the boiler shell practically on these supports here. So, but with the stanchions, they'll stand off the boiler a little better, and or a little further. So we got to get rid of this right there. That'll be ground flush. This one won't be ground flush completely. The top will have a little bit of meat left on it, but the bottom we will be grinding until it meets the shell here. So we're going to do some very careful grinding, all right, on both sides, and then that'll let our stanchion sit just about in the perfect spot. And remember, there's a lot of fudge factor here. These aren't exactly, you know, to scale, these 2025s, but we'll work with it. A little bit of fudge factor, a little bit of imagination. Alright. So anyway, what I use to do this carefully is my mini-mite moto tool, okay. So then I'll be grinding, well, more this way on the workbench. I'm not going to do it up here. I'm just going to take us all down to the workbench, and where I can clamp the shell down to the workbench and then work at it slowly. Okay, we'll get that one, and then we'll move over to this one and grind that one down flush. But before we do that, let me swing the boiler around here, and I'll give you a shot with it this way. Okay. Once again, this one will be ground flat all the way to the shell, and then this one just until this bottom edge meets the round part of the shell. All right. And the front one, we just leave that one alone. That one will be fine. Because this is the thinnest part of the shell right here around the fire box, or the smoke box. So it's all at an angle. All right, so anyway, what we got to do is I take I usually do this down on my drill press down in the basement, where I can clamp everything tight and keep the drill bit straight and all of that. But like last night, it was down to 19 degrees, and it's not going to warm up for a little bit, so not to the point where I could work in the basement. So we're going to do this freehand. Yes, we'll get my thumbs working here today. But anyway, we're going to try it this way. We'll clamp this to the workbench and work table. But I use this Black & Decker drill here. It's just a hand screwdriver. And it's got a nice light on it, nice and bright. And a 3/32 drill bit, and then that will allow me to drill down through here, and that's a good clearance hole for these stanchions to pass through. On the other boilers that I've done, I always thread these, and then I just screw the stanchions in. I don't use the nuts. But with this, we're going to have to drill a clearance hole and let it slip through there, and then we'll put the nut on from the inside of the boiler shell. All right. But when we're drilling, what you have to be wary of is when you're going down through the shell, of course you want to keep everything straight. We'll do the drilling before we do any grinding, because the more meat we have on here, the better chance we have of our drill bit being supported as it goes through there and not wandering away. And with that in mind, another thing about drilling this soft metal is as soon as you start drilling, you'll notice the chips will start to glue themselves or build up onto the drill bit. As soon as you notice that, you want to pull this out and clear the chips. If you don't, those chips will compact themselves into the flutes, and they'll start to build up. And even though it's, you know, soft metal and you'd think it would go right through, no, it'll glue itself to the point where it'll start to waller out the hole, and then you pull your drill bit out, and next thing you know, you have instead of a 3/32 hole, you've got a 1/8 inch hole, because all those chips just wallering out the hole as you go. So just keep clearing the chips as you go through, and that won't happen. Okay, so we'll work on that. Hopefully we won't create any big giant holes in this puppy. Alright, I don't use any oil on these, because that just makes a mess. This metal is very soft, which is good for drilling, but also bad because it sticks to the bit, like I said. and it can cause you to run into trouble. All right, so we'll just drill them dry, not any cutting oil, and get it through there. So we just have 4 holes, 2 on each side. Smoke box, we'll leave that one alone. And then, once we're done with the grinding, then we can, or once we're done with the drilling, then we can grind these down. And then that makes it easier actually, because now we got a bigger hole in there and less to grind down. So we drill the hole first and then grind it down. And that's the process I'm going to use. All right. Okay, so I wanted to show you here. Let me zoom back out again. And you'll notice right away some railing on this side. I've already completed this one. All right. There's our railing going into the smoke box and our stanchions. And we take a look at it this way. Got a nice straight line down there to the cab. Looking good. Then if we throw the steam chest and cow catcher in place, see if I can get that to drop. Let me grab something to prop up the cylinders here. There we go, that fits into place. Alright. So then there's that situation. Alright. Like I say, there's always a little bit of fudge factor going on. Gotta make sure it's going to look okay. You don't want to throw something on there that's not going to look good. And then you gotta leave room on the walkway for the ladies and gentlemen to walk across there and use the handrail. And then this gives it more bulk too. I mean, the railing's not right up against the boiler shell like it was with the cotter pin. So this gives it a little more bulk and puts us closer to having it look like an actual K4. So I'm loving it. I like it. I like it. What I do here is before threading it through the stanchions, I just put a slight bend after this frontmost stanchion, slight bend in the railing, and then the railing will set itself into place there and follow along the boiler shell there. All right, because it's much thicker back here than it is up here at the smoke box, so we want the railing to follow along. All right. So you can see once we get the other side on, we should be looking good. All right, so let me get that out of the way. And then on the inside of our shell, let's see if I can get you a shot here. I gotta still do a final cleaning on this and get it all. Oh, I still got some of my fun tack on there. I was using that to hold the nut in place while I screwed in the stanchion. But yeah, so anyway, here we are. Let me zoom in. I'll hit this with some black marker here when I'm done. And after a final cleaning, before we put everything together, we got a lot of metal chips in there. We don't need those floating around. All right, so there's the one on the firebox. That one's cinched up nicely right there. And then this one is the midpoint stanchion. All right. Like I say, we'll clean this all up and get that touched up with some paint. And then when the final assembly happens, let me grab something here. I just put the tiniest bit of this Vibratite. Let's see if I can get you a shot of that. It's just thread locker, but it's medium strength. It's not, you know, gonna hold it on there forever. So works nice. I just put a tiny bit of that on before screwing the nut into place on the stanchion, and she won't go anywhere. All right, so that'll take care of that situation. So what I got to do here is clamp this puppy onto my work table, and then we can commence the drilling and grinding. Maybe you can see here. I'll try to zoom in again before we leave the layout here. You see how this one is just almost flush with the boiler now. Ground that one down. And then this one at the firebox, that one's ground down flush. It's gone completely. And we'll just touch up any shiny spots if we need to with some paint. And then you can see on the top we still got a bit of meat here, and then that keeps the stanchion in a nice plane with the boiler. Alright, and then I'm going to take our chrome pen, this puppy here, we'll take that, and I'll give these a final cleanup, and we'll coat it with this stuff. I noticed the guy that I bought the handrails off of on eBay for the 2026, the stainless steel ones. He has stainless steel ones for the 2025, but I thought I want to keep as much of the original as I can, so we're going to reuse these. Alright, so let's get down to the work table. I think I've talked enough. I'm running out of breath. So let's get down to the work table, and we'll get some grinding and drilling and testing, and we'll see what we can accomplish. Okay. Okay, now we're down here on the work table, and I've got the shell clamped to the edge of the table there. Gently, you don't want to squeeze too hard on this, but so we're going to start with our firebox support there, and we'll drill that out. That's our first mission. Alright, I'll grab my drill here, put some extra light on there. Remember what I was saying about the chips, you know, we got to keep those cleared out, make sure we're in the right direction here. Alright, we got to keep her straight. Like I said, the hole should guide the drill bit through. Okay, just clear those chips that start to gather. Just take your time, take it slow. Get them off of there, get them off the drill bit. see there? I left that one in there a little too long. Luckily it's soft enough metal that it'll let you take the drill bit out easily, but you leave those chips in there too long, it'll get you a big hole in there sooner or later. All right, very good. We're through. Put the driver in reverse here. All right. Get my brush here, get those out of the way. As you can see, we got a nice hole right through there. Didn't wind up being bigger than we wanted it. And if we test our stanchion here, it should drop right in. And it does. Okay. So then we're going to go over to this one here. Let me check everything, make sure everything is still tight. It is. Alright. And let's drill this one out. Oh, let's put it in the right direction. Just take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Started to grab that one. I actually wish this screwdriver also came with a chuck on the end instead of this. This is nice for all the bits that come with it, but it should come with an optional chuck on there. I think that would be an improvement. Maybe they do and I didn't know it. Alright, we got through. Alright, what did I do with my brush? There it is. Alright, nice. Okay. Now if we put our stanchion in there, it should fit nicely. Beautiful. All right. Looking good. All right. So now comes the fun part. Oh, we got to start grinding. Okay, so let's just check, make everything still tight. We'll just put this on low here. We'll start with this one here. You gotta be very careful. Take your time once again. You don't want to wind up kicking off and scarring the boiler shell there. Just trying to maintain the flat area of this support here. You want this to be, 90 degrees in effect to the boiler, so your stanchion sticks straight out. You don't want it to be pointing upwards or sitting at an odd angle, frontwards or backwards, this way, that way, or downward. You want to keep this a flat. Okay, this is the other part of this grinding process. As you're going, you'll see this start to, because again, this is soft metal, this will start to mushroom out a little bit, and it makes it look bigger than it actually is. So just walk around with a jeweler's screwdriver. Pull up that lip that starts to form. It can seem tedious, but enjoy the process. All right, now we're back to our original diameter with all that mushrooming removed. All right, so now we can keep going. Okay. Pry off the mushrooming effect again. Wear eye protection when you're doing this. Well, should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. I have mine on, so just make sure you do that. These chips will hurt you if they get in your eyes. Then you have to stop working and run to the hospital. They say, what happened to you? What'd you do? I just tell them I was rebuilding a steam locomotive down at the railroad. Got a metal chip in my eye. Okay, we're in good shape. We're getting close on the bottom part of this support here. Make sure you have a good grip on your Dremel before you go after grinding. I think they're right about there. Okay. Let me do a test fit here. Very nice. That sits in there real nice. Can you see that? Let me put some light on her. Yeah. She's sitting perpendicular to the boiler. All right. Very nice. So I think we're done with that support. So once again, we got to go around and peel off our mushroom and clean that up. I'll try to put some of this in high speed so you don't have to suffer through all this drilling and grinding, but get that little sliver off of there. Just be very gentle. There we go. Sweep away the swarf. All right. So that one's done. Now we got to go after this one right here, okay? All right, let's grab it tight there. This one's a little thicker where this joint from the bell pair firebox to the boiler jacketing meets up, so that's a little thicker right there. But you don't want to dig in and dig down because that'll throw your stanchion off kilter. You want to keep it straight. I've got it positioned for you guys, and it's making it hard for me, but we shall endeavor to persevere. There we go. Popping off now. Very good. Get that sliver off of there. There we go. This is low speed on this motor tool, by the way. That's high speed. We don't want that. We want to take things nice and slow. All right, I think we're where we need to be. Get the mushroom off of here. Once again, I'll block your way here. Gonna get this lower chip off of there. That worked. Alright. Let me just open this hole it mushroomed over into the hole here. Just do that by hand. Alright. Do another test fit with our stanchion. Very nice. Excellent. Put some more light on that one. There you go. She's sitting nice. You can always tell by the shadow of someone if you're askew. But this one's sitting real nice. Very good. Yep, we're in good shape. once again. Brush the swarf off of here. That's machinist talk for metal chips. Swarf. Alright, little chip here, right on the bottom side, that needs to come off. Thusly. Alright. Okay, then we'll release the clamps. Alright. Now from the inside, you can see we got some junk in there to clean out, but let's see if I can show it to you here. Not that side burns, this side, yeah. So there's our holes right here. And there's a little bit of push through on our hole there. That's a metal chip. That's why this is shiny on here. You have to grind that away so your nuts sit pretty straight on there. So just gonna do that real quick. Doesn't take but a moment or two. I'm going to try and do this backwards for you so you can see it. I don't know how well this is going to turn out. Am I in the way? No. Alright. That cleans up our holes on the inside. Alright. So now we're going to set this aside for the moment after we brush out the swarf on the inside of the shell here. Get that all cleared out. As much as we can. All right, very nice. All right, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to grab my hand vac here and suck up all these metal chips before we go any further, all right? I'll be back with you. All right, she's got her bath in dishwashing liquid and hot water. Used a nice fine scrub brush and got all the nooks and crannies cleaned out, our smokestacks cleaned out of the pill residue. She's ready to accept her new handrails. All right. So let's see, we've got our upside down here. We've got all the chips, all the debris out of there. Touched up these areas with some black marker paint just to protect it a little bit, but where we ground the metal shavings off the drilled hole there. So the first thing I do here with these, let's see if I pick one of these up real quick. There's our little nut there, and then I have some of that fun tack put on this stick here, and just to aid me in holding these nuts. Okay, we've got our Vibratite here. Grab our stanchion, like I say, this is a medium strength, so it can be removed even without heat. So we don't have to worry about it being a permanent thread locker. Alright, so we'll get the stanchion through the hole here. Get our tool in place. Can you see it? Okay, you can see it. Alright. Get a few threads caught there. Spin our stanchion in place. Get that out of the way. Spin the nut on there. And then I use this broken drill bit. I just keep it in the package with the stanchions because it's a perfect fit through the hole here. Well, maybe not a perfect fit, but it fits nicely, I should say. And then we can use it as a wrench. Get it in the hole. Alright. Then we can usually just hold the nut with our finger in there. And wind her in. Tighten her up. Doesn't have to be real tight. And then this will give us a good gauge if we're straight. Okay? So that'll tell us that we're in line and we should be okay to go on to the next one. All right? Let me pick up another nut here. I'll just push that into the Fun Tech. I won't make you suffer through me doing all of these. But alright, just a tiny bit. Thread locker into the firebox she goes. Alright. Get a few threads on there. Set that aside. Grab our wrench here. Am I still in the picture? Yeah. Hold the nut. I have to do it with my thumb this time around. Alright. Just a little bit more. That should be good. Alright, so that's those two stanchions in place. Now for the handrails, I think I might have mentioned that I was going to chrome these, but I decided against it because I just spent some quality time with 1200 grit emery paper. Gave it a good cleanup and they look fine. I think they look nice. Alright. So we're going to also straighten them up as much as possible, but we'll see how they turn out here. So we'll thread it through here. Come on, stop shaking, Burns. Don't be scared. Alright, there's that one. Let's go for the next one. that slipped through real nice. Now we'll aim for our cab here. It should be right in line. Somewhere about there. We'll guide this into the smoke box up here at the front. Let me put us this way. I can work on it a little better. There we go. How about that, huh? Oh, you're upside down. There we go. All right, this is looking great. Loving it, loving it. I need a little more spring on this just to hold it into the cab, but or into the smoke box. But we're in great shape. I'm loving that. All right, here's the look from the front. Nice straight line. Very good. That's it from the top. Very good. All right, let me get this other one in. Oh, that popped out again. Yeah. We need a little bit of a bend right here. So I'll do that. That's just enough to give it a little bit of spring action to stay in there. All right. So let me get the other one on and I'll be right back with you. Okay, here she is. All the handrails in place, all the stanchions in place. Everything's nice and tidy, clean. Following our boiler quite nicely. All right. Yeah, I'm loving it. Front and to the cab. All right. So then if we put our motor assembly in here. All right. That should just drop. This isn't magnet traction. This is the later version without the magnet traction. And then that just slips right in. Those little nuts, they don't interfere with the placement of the motor anywhere. So we're in good shape with that. All right. Did I get the E unit in the slot there? Oh yeah. All right, it's in there. So yeah, she'll have her wheels under her soon. All right. Yeah, this I cleaned up quite a long time ago, a few years back, and then it's just been sitting waiting for its turn in the project. So I just have to clean the treads here a little bit, and we'll get that mounted back in. But everything else is clean, working perfectly. E-unit's working fine. Yeah. Light bulbs still work. Of course, we won't be using that anymore because of our LED front end assembly. If you remember, I did that a long time ago, probably 4 years now. This poor locomotive's been waiting so long. All right. So anyway, that project's finished, and I'm quite happy with all of that. I like it a lot. All right, so we'll move on from here, and we'll see what I get into the next time. Probably mounting the motor, the wheels, the cow catcher, smoke unit. We'll try to make that all in the final video, and we'll go from there. Okay? Toodles.